0-2-1 to start this
Correct, guys.
most important stretch of the season that included, 6 games against non-playoff teams. And here they are without a win yet. Charlie, let's get to 3 stars, I guess. Let's kick it off with star number 3.
Star number 3. God. I guess I'll go with Brock Nelson. Scores the game-winning goal. He wasn't like jumping out at me, but he gets the game winner. This is a base. I mean, for the Flyers, like we talk about, and we talked about this, me and Bill, off air. Like the idea of must-win games. Like you can't really call this a must-win game because they lost it and they're not out of the playoff mix. Like they could lose this game and still make the playoffs. So it wasn't a must-win game. For the Islanders, this was about as close to a must-win game as you can get. Like if they would have lost this game in regulation, I think it would have been essentially over. They came into this game 5 points behind the Flyers. They would have left behind 7. It was over if they lost this game in my mind. Instead, they get the second point in overtime. Yeah, they only pick up 1 point on the Flyers, but they still have 2 games at hand. They're only 4 points back. I mean, if they win those 2 games, and I believe their next 2 games are against pretty weak teams, if they take care of business, they could be right there tied with the Flyers. And that doesn't happen if someone doesn't make a play, and Brock Nelson's the guy who puts the puck in the net. So I'll make Brock Nelson my second star of the game.
How about star number 2?
Star number 2, I will go with Anders Lee. I thought he was really noticeable. Obviously he scores the goal that puts the I think he was the third goal, right? It was
3-2,
the goal.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the 3-2 goal. The goal near the end of the second. And that was a goal where, look, I guess in theory a goalie could have stopped that one, but that's just a great play by Anders Lee. I mean, that's a great deflection. That's what he does. He is a tough as nails guy. He's physical. He goes to the net. He gets those types of greasy goals. He did, and I'm not shitting on Sean Couturier because he was hurt in this game, but like he did what a captain has to do in a game like this. And team's got to win. He gets the big goal to tie the game and or to give the team the lead. Anders Lee, second star.
Last but not least, let's hear that star number 1.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Ivan Fedotov.
Absolutely.
I know the Flyers lost this game. I know he gives up the game winner. He gives up 2 goals on 21 shots, but it's the degree of difficulty. As I said earlier, I went on Twitter saying I think it's stupid that people are screaming for Fedotov to start. I got into an argument with you on Twitter about it this morning. I still think it was stupid. But Fedotov overcame the stupidity out of sheer obstinance and will. And actually played quite well, despite the fact, you could tell on that Barzell breakaway, he didn't squeeze that shot because he hasn't broken in his glove yet. This was nuts to throw him into this game. And somehow, this friggin' kid stands tall. I mean, he is tall, so it's not that hard for him to stand tall. But, this could have been a disaster. He could have given up 6 goals. And that, I think, was part of the reason why I was so afraid to put him in, because I see how quickly the fans here turn on goalies. 2.5 months ago, everybody thought Sam Ersson was the bee's knees and loved him. And even before Carter Hart wasn't able to play, they were talking about how Ersson's the number 1. He's the true starter. Now people want to fire him into the sun. And it's okay, everybody might love Fedotov now, but if you put him in too soon, he gives up 6 goals and blows the biggest game of the year, then everyone hates him and wants to send him back to Russia. I didn't want to see that happen to the kid because I didn't think it was the right way to treat him. Well, you know what? They put him in a really tough situation, as John Tortorella said. And basically, as John Tortorella said, he's the only goddamn guy who showed up in the second period.
Yeah.
And props to Ivan Fedotov. The Flyers, in John Tortorella's eyes, learned some negative things tonight about some of the guys on this team, but I think they learned a real positive thing about the makeup and the personality of one Ivan Fedotov, that he was able to handle the situation. I know he didn't get the win, but he performed a hell of a lot better than I thought he was going to, and for that reason, he's my number 1 star.
All right, Charlie, I'm not going to sit here and get in an argument with a fucking monitor because that'll make me feel insane. So we're going to do this tomorrow on the show, the Fedotov conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
and
Charlie.
we will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock with our regular live show on Tuesday. So make sure you're all tuned in for that. That is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us from the scene of the crime tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.